The rest of these videos are going to be done using a photo of the view I'm going to be drawing as opposed to a video of the actual view. And the reason is because it's logistically hard to show my drawing and then also show the view that I'm drawing. It's going to be particularly difficult when I start drawing in perspective with rulers and I'm trying to find the vanishing point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend this is the view that you see, okay? Or imagine that this is the view that I see when I look directly forward. So the first thing that's going to need to be done is that you're going to need to draw a couple thumbnails. Because if you remember, part of the project is integrating an unexpected element. So I was thinking I'm going to draw a snake coming out of the bathroom. Okay, because one of my fears as a kid was that there was a snake in the toilet. And I think I was a little bit scared because of Jumanji and all of the animals that were coming out of the house. Or I don't know where my fear came from. I think it's probably from movies. But I wanted to make this about that fear, so I wanted to have a snake coming out of the bathroom. And I was thinking too, well, I'll make the bathroom into a little jungle, okay? So I'm gonna put some flowers in there and some leaves. And I was also thinking that this area right here, that's outside the cabinets, I was also going to make it into a jungle, just so that I can, repeat this type of pattern over here, create a little more harmony, and kind of keep the theme going. Okay, now I think it's important in something like this to make a thumbnail so that you could test out different ideas. Okay, I only made one, but you could also make another one, and try out a different approach to this. And this doesn't have to be, proportionally correct, okay, just so you can get enough of an idea. But let's say that I wanted to have the snake come out of the sink as opposed to the bathroom, okay? That could be another thumbnail, okay? Or maybe if I wanted 3 snakes or a bunch of snakes, okay? I mean, there's so many different approaches with this. Okay, what if it came out of the kitchen sink? Alright. Like that. Okay, and then what if I was right here? Actually, I don't know if I'd like that because I'm a little bit too far off to the side, but maybe if I was right here. Just completely scared. Ah, snake. Okay, and I had a little bit of that forest jungle-like plant life back here. Okay, that's my other thumbnail. Okay, I mean, it's whatever you want. Okay, you could do 3 of them, 4 of them. I would say do 1 or 2. Okay, if you feel like you need to do more, then do more. I'm going to show you how to get started on your 1-point perspective drawing from observation. Now, like I said before, I'm going to be using a photograph because of the logistical issues of showing you how to sight something in perspective from direct observation. Okay, and before we get started, I want to show you one other method that you could use to find your vanishing point. I show you a method where you stand directly in front of the face that is facing you, and directly ahead of your body will be the vanishing point. However, another method is if you get 2 sticks or 2 pencils, what you can do, okay, so you can hold one on the right side, one on the left side, and then you find out that the vanishing point's right there. Okay, and this works better when you do it in real life because relative to the scene, the pencils will be a little bit thinner and it won't be blocking so many things as it does when you do it on the photograph. Okay, so you want to make sure that you've established where your horizon line is and where your vanishing point is. On your 18 by 24 inch piece of paper, you want to make sure that you draw a 2-inch border. Okay, this really isn't as necessary as it is on the 2-point perspective drawing, but just to keep things consistent, you will be doing it on the 1-point perspective drawing as well. you will be establishing a horizon line. Okay, and I would say keeping that closer to the middle, although it doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. Okay, and just make sure that it's level. If it's like this, you're gonna have an issue, and if it's like this, you're gonna have an issue. And then establish your vanishing point. And I would also suggest keeping that towards the middle, although it doesn't have to be smack dab in the middle. It'll just make it easier for this assignment. So once you have your horizon line and your vanishing point established on your scene, okay, using tape, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose a basic unit. And a basic unit is a dimension that you're going to use to measure other dimensions. Okay, and what you could do is you can measure from the horizon line, okay, from your piece of tape down, or let's say up to the ceiling. Okay, so from your piece of tape to the ceiling is your basic unit. Okay, so you're going to be measuring everything else with respect to the piece of tape, which is the horizon line, to the ceiling. Okay, and the ceiling right here. Okay, not right here, but right here. Okay, so I'm going to establish that on here. A little bit smaller. Okay, I'm going to establish actually where that ceiling is at. And with all these lines, okay, these horizontal lines, you want to make sure that they're perfectly horizontal. Okay, and just keep it light right now. Okay, and I'm going to draw a little bit darker just so that you can see the lines. But when you draw them, you want to keep them light, and I would suggest doing it with a HB pencil. Okay, then we're going to measure from the vanishing point to the floor, and we're going to use this basic unit. Okay, so if you were in real life, you'd be holding your hand out like this, okay? And you'd be holding this with your eye and your pencil. Okay, and you'd be measuring it to this. Okay. You realize it's actually the same size. Okay, so the length from the top of the ceiling to the horizon line is the same length from the horizon line to where the floor meets the bottom of the wall. Okay, so let's go over to our drawing. I'm trying my best not to get into the camera view here. And you're going to establish that same proportion. Okay, right there. Okay, and like I said, keep it light. I'm keeping it a little bit darker, just because I want you to be able to see it. You could darken up your lines later, but at the beginning, keep them light. Okay, so now let's measure from the vanishing point to this wall. Okay, where this edge is. Okay, so you're going to use this basic unit. Okay, and you're going to go like this, and there's 1, and about 1 3/4. Okay, so let's go to my basic unit on here. Let's go 1, there, 2, Okay, so 3/4 is about right there. Okay, and now we're gonna draw this vertical edge. Now we don't know where it's going to end on the top yet or the bottom, but we're gonna estimate it for now and just keep it light. So, because you're likely gonna have to erase some of it. Okay, you wanna make sure that this is perfectly vertical. And what I mean by perfectly vertical, it's perpendicular to the horizon line. All these edges are based off the horizon line, and this one needs to be perfectly vertical, okay? Perfectly perpendicular to the horizon line. We're just gonna eyeball this since it's only a little bit above this wall. We're gonna assume that the edge ends about right here. And since this one's just a little bit below the bottom of this wall, we're gonna assume it's right about here. Okay. Now, this is where you get to draw in receding edges. Okay, so we're gonna draw this edge right here. So what you're gonna do is you're going to, on your piece of paper, because you know where the bottom of the wall is, you're gonna go to your vanishing point, and you're going to line it up with that corner, and you're going to draw this edge. Okay? Now you don't know where this is going to end yet, but you're just going to draw it in lightly and find where it's going to end. And actually, I would suggest just keeping your construction lines. You could erase these later. Okay, now we're going to do the top one. Okay, that's this edge right here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to measure, okay, from this edge to this edge using our basic unit. So you're always going to go back to the same basic unit. And it's important that when you do it in real life, that you keep your arm all the way out, okay, locked. If it's like this and this and this and this, it's going to get confusing. Lock your arm. Okay, so when I measure on here, okay, I find it's a little bit below one of my basic units. Okay, so now we could draw this vertical edge. We're going to draw this horizontal edge. Okay, now we're going to draw this edge. I'm just going to eyeball it, how far it is in. Okay, now let's establish where this edge is. And I would suggest capturing the major edges first. Capture the most prominent edges and then go to smaller edges. At this point, I wouldn't be finding, the edge of this little coaster. Okay, I would focus on the larger edges and then find how the smaller edges, okay, the less prominent ones, fit in to these larger edges. Okay, so we want to see where this edge is at. Okay, so it's about a little bit less than one basic unit. Right here. Okay, so let's draw that edge in. Okay, and let's figure out where this edge is. Okay, this horizontal edge. Okay, so if we're looking at our scene, we're going to measure, okay, using the basic unit, and it's about 1 3/4 from the horizon line. Okay, and since we're at it, we could draw this edge, okay, where this ceiling meets the top of the wall. Okay, so you're gonna go from this corner to the vanishing point. Okay, now let's measure where this door begins. Okay, so let's go back to our basic unit. Just measure that. 1, a little bit less than 2. One, 2, it's a little bit less. Okay, we're gonna draw that in. Okay, and let's figure out how wide the door is. Okay, so it's about 1 1/4 basic units. Okay, now let's find where the bottom of this wall meets the floor. And we'll do it right here at the bottom of the molding. Okay, I'm gonna draw this corner to the vanishing point. And then once you have the major edges measured, some of this you could eyeball. Okay, and then you could also start to draw in the ground. Okay, so I think you have a pretty good idea of how to draw in your edges using 1-point perspective. Okay, you're going to be establishing on your paper, once it's been established in real life, your horizon line and your vanishing point. You're going to choose a basic unit and use that basic unit to measure all your other dimensions. I would say before you get too caught up in all of the details, what I would do is I'd begin to draw in, or sketch in, because you're just lightly sketching it in right now, the unexpected element. Okay, so I would suggest against waiting until everything's completely, perfectly done and all these lines are erased. I would start doing it right now. Okay, just do it lightly. Okay, so I'm going to draw this snake. It's coming from the bathroom. I'm going to start to draw these leaves, and I'm just doing this from imagination, but it might be helpful to draw it from a picture. Okay, so you just want to sketch that in. Okay, and then you begin to draw in some of your other elements, for example, the floor. Okay, now once you're done capturing your contours, you're going to want to erase the lines that are not going to be seen. Okay, and since you did this lightly, it should be easy to erase. And eventually, when everything is nice and precise, you could also erase your horizon line. Okay, as well as your vanishing point. Okay, and this is at the point where you want to start to develop the line quality if you're doing a contour line drawing, as well as refining your lines. So you can tell that this part in the background is more of a sketch. This would need to be refined. If you're doing a contour line drawing, you're going to want to start to develop your line quality. Okay, how can you use thicker or thinner lines? How can you use line value, okay, to make a more dynamic drawing? If you're doing it with value, this is the point at which you can start to develop values. The last thing you want to do, you're going to start to want to refine your drawing. Since I'm doing a contour line drawing, I'm going to start to develop line quality and clean things up. Okay, because as you can see, there's still some stray marks here, and I want to develop some more of these details. Okay, and you'll continue your refinement across the entire composition. Okay, so that it all looks carefully considered.